When I was the nutritionist on the Australian TV show Eat Yourself Sexy, I had a front row seat to how hard women were working to lose weight. But what surprised me the most was this. The women who struggled weren't lazy. Their bodies had underlying drivers that were never being addressed. Hi, I'm Emma Sutherland, clinical naturopath, author, mum, and your host. Over the past 2 episodes in this series, we've talked about why weight loss is way more complex than calories. And we've unpacked the real biological drivers behind weight gain. Things like hormones, stress, sleep, gut health, thyroid function, inflammation, blood sugar, and liver health. My approach to weight loss focuses on identifying the root causes and supporting the body rather than fighting against it. Today, we're going to bring it all together because once you understand the drivers, the next question becomes, what do I actually do now? And that's exactly what we're going to walk through in this episode. Not a diet, not a quick fix, not a drastic overhaul, a roadmap. A step-by-step process that supports your body, builds metabolism, and creates sustainable weight loss. And I want to be really clear. This roadmap isn't just a theoretical idea. It's a practical tool that you can follow step by step. That's why I created a downloadable version for you, because knowledge is helpful, but having the exact sequence in front of you is what turns understanding into results. So we're going to go through each step, and I'm going to give you an action point to get started with immediately. And then you're going to download the full roadmap via the link below. Let's hit step 1. Now, this is understanding your starting point. The first step in any weight loss journey is understanding where you're at right now. This sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful because you can't measure progress if you don't know your baseline. Slow down and take stock of where you are right now, not with judgment, not with pressure, but with curiosity. I often ask women to start simply by noticing their body. How is your energy during the day? How well are you sleeping? Do you feel hungry all the time or not hungry at all? Is your digestion comfortable or are you experiencing bloating or reflux? I highly recommend that you record your weight and measure your waist and hips every Sunday. Pick out a couple of benchmark clothing items, clothes that are currently a little tight, and you're going to try them on every Sunday morning when you weigh yourself to see how you're going. You also need to identify your motivation, your big why. Why do you want to lose weight? What does that mean to you? This motivation has to be intrinsic. It has to come from within you. If it comes extrinsically or from outside you, your motivation will run out of steam. So let me give you an example. Sharon came to see me about a year ago. She was a 63-year-old woman who was carrying weight around her midsection. Not uncommon. Her GP had referred her to me because she had fatty liver and insulin resistance. But when we really delved into why she wanted to lose weight, it actually had nothing to do with concerns around diabetes or liver. It had everything to do with her newborn grandson, Alfie. Sharon wanted to be Alfie's carer 1 day a week, and she was due on board in 6 months' time. She wanted to be an active, healthy grandma who was able to run around and have fun with her grandson. So we built a plan, and with laser beam focus, Sharon implemented the strategies that resulted in weight loss. Sharon was intrinsically motivated to lose her weight. So the action step for this section is to measure your weight on the scales, measure your waist around the belly button, and identify your big why. And if you're listening to this and thinking, this makes sense, but I don't want to forget the steps, that's exactly why the roadmap exists. It lays out the full sequence in the right order. So you're not guessing or skipping ahead or starting in the wrong place, which is where most people end up losing momentum. Step 2 of the roadmap is building a strong foundation. Once we understand the starting point, the next step is to strengthen the foundations. And this is where weight loss really begins, not with restriction, but with nourishment. So many women come to me expecting that we're going to start by cutting out foods. But often the first thing we do is add things back in. We add more vegetables, we add more protein, we add more fiber, and we make sure that hydration is optimal. These are simple changes, but they're incredibly powerful because your metabolism needs nutrients to function properly. Your hormones need fuel. Your gut needs fiber. And when your body is properly nourished, it becomes much more willing to let go of weight. We must build this solid foundation or weight regain is highly likely. Action step for this section is to add 1 extra serve of vegetables to your dinner each night this week and include protein at every breakfast. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see in clinic is women jumping straight to restriction or intense exercise before their foundations are ready. But the roadmap prevents that. It shows you what to do first, what to do next, and what to leave for later so your body actually responds. Let's move to step 3, which is making simple food swaps. After the foundations are in place, we begin to refine food choices, not in a strict or a rigid way, but in a thoughtful way. So for example, instead of highly processed snacks, we choose foods that contain protein and fiber, which keeps your blood sugars stable and energy consistent. So think about swapping out a packet of pretzels or banana bread for apple slices with some nut butter. Instead of relying on takeaway meals several times a week, we gradually introduce more home-cooked meals. These changes don't have to be dramatic. In fact, the most sustainable changes are often the smallest ones, the ones that fit naturally into your routine. And over time, these small shifts create a huge difference. The action step for this section: swap that afternoon biscuit for a handful of nuts, a boiled egg, or maybe some Greek yogurt, and replace any sugary drinks with a herbal tea instead. Step 4 is supporting your body's rhythms. Another area we often look at is meal timing. Not because there's one perfect schedule for everyone, but because your body thrives on rhythm. When meals are unpredictable or when we snack constantly throughout the day, the digestive system never really gets a chance to rest. So sometimes simply creating a gentle routine, eating regular meals, reducing late night eating, and allowing the body time to reset overnight can have a surprisingly positive effect on energy, digestion, and weight. Again, this isn't about extremes, it's about consistency. Your action step for this section: stop eating at least 2 hours before bedtime and reduce 1 snack per day. Now, this is also where many women realize that they've been trying to fix the wrong problem for years. When you see the steps written out clearly, it becomes very obvious why your weight hasn't shifted. And more importantly, what to do about it. That clarity is incredibly powerful. Step 5 is supporting gut health and detox. Once the foundations are in place, we can begin to support deeper healing within the body. This is often where we look more closely at gut health, food intolerances, and liver function. For some women, this might mean addressing digestive symptoms that have been present for years, things like bloating, reflux, or irregular bowels. For others, it might involve supporting the liver, which plays a central role in processing hormones and toxins. And the goal here is not to force detoxification. Your body already knows how to detox. What we're doing is creating conditions that allow those natural processes to work more efficiently. Your action step for this section: add 1 fiber-rich food to your day. It could be chia seeds, some oats, some berries, or lentils. And drink 1 extra glass of water every single day. Step 6 is all about increasing movement. Movement is another important piece of the puzzle, but it doesn't have to start with intense workouts or long sessions at the gym. In fact, one of the most effective places to begin is simply by moving more throughout the day. Walking regularly, standing up more, taking the stairs, stretching between tasks. These small bursts of movement help regulate blood sugar levels, improve circulation, and support your metabolism. And for many women, this approach feels much more achievable, especially when life is already busy. Your action step here: go for a 10-minute walk after dinner and take the stairs instead of the lift or the escalator. Step 7 is about building muscle. As the body becomes stronger and more stable, we start to focus on building muscle. This is one of the most powerful tools we have for long-term weight management. Muscle is metabolically active tissue, which means it helps your body burn fat more effectively, even when you're resting. But beyond weight loss, muscle also supports bone health, balance, and overall strength. So resistance training becomes less about your appearance and more about your resilience. And the good news is you don't need to train every day. 2 or 3 sessions per week done consistently can make an incredible difference. Your action step for this section: add in a 20-minute resistance band workout at home and do a free trial at a local gym. Step 8 is about metabolic flexibility. Later in the journey, once the body is well nourished and we have strong foundations in place, we can start to work on what we call metabolic flexibility. This simply means teaching your body to switch between using carbohydrates or using fats as a source of fuel. When the body becomes metabolically flexible, energy levels tend to feel more stable, cravings reduce, and fat loss often becomes easier. But the caveat here: this step only works when the earlier foundations are in place. That's why we don't rush it. Here's your action step: reduce refined carbohydrates by swapping white bread for salad or vegetables, and ensure that you have a 12-hour overnight fast. Step 9 is all about maintenance. Finally, we reach the stage that matters most, which is maintenance. And here is something super important. Most people never reach this stage, not because they lack discipline, but because they didn't follow the right sequence. They skipped steps or started in the wrong place. The roadmap protects you from making that mistake. Because sustainable weight loss isn't about reaching a number on the scale. It's about creating habits that you can live with for the long term. This is where we focus on protecting sleep, managing stress, staying active, and continuing to nourish your body. Not perfectly, but consistently. And when those habits become part of everyday life, the results will stay. So if you take one message from today's episode, let it be this: weight loss is not about punishment. It's about support. When you support your body step by step, it becomes much more willing to respond. And that's when weight loss starts to feel less like a battle and more like progress. So your action step for this section is protect your sleep routine. Aim to go to bed at the same time each night. And also schedule one stress-reducing activity in every week. It could be a yoga class, a walk with a friend, or just reading a book with some nice music on. Now, if you feel overwhelmed, start with just one step. You don't need to do everything. You just need to begin. Thank you so much for joining me on this 3-part series on weight loss. Before you go, I want to leave you with one message. You are not broken. Weight loss is not about willpower. It's about understanding your body and supporting it in the right way. If you're serious about changing your weight, don't rely on your memory. Download the roadmap now. It's the exact sequence I use in clinic, written up step by step, so you know where to start and what to focus on next. Most women don't struggle because they lack effort. They struggle because they're doing the right things in the wrong order. But the roadmap fixes that. And once you have it in front of you, everything becomes clearer and progress becomes much faster. You can download it now from the link in the description below. And remember, progress matters more than perfection. Thanks so much for being with me today. Don't forget to like this video and also hit that subscribe button below.